Hey Warhawks, Colonel Wilson again with you. This is Freeform Friday. We are in Season 2, Episode 6, Chapter 52 overall since we started on this endeavor. Joined as always by my wingman, Chief Morgan, down on the end there. Chief, we didn't have the opportunity to do this last week. Colonel Irick and Mr. Sarita took it for us. Appreciate you having you back and being back doing this area. Again, a happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you too, boss. Happy Friday, Warhawks.
Happy Friday, well. So hey, we got a couple of guests. As you can see, you might have figured out where we're at this week. We are in the conference center here on the Defense Language Institute English Language Center, also known as the 637 Training Group. We got a couple special guests. We'll start down with Major Rebecca Bologna, who is here. She's going to talk a little bit about Joint Task Force COVAX, and we got Mr. Dan Vega, who's going to talk a little bit about our Amigo program. Before we start talking business, we got to get to know you guys a little bit better. So, Major Bologna, could you just tell us a little bit where you're from? Tell us about any family. What do you do here on the 37 Training Wing for us?
So I'm originally from Wichita Falls, Texas, but I was a military brat, and I've been in the Air Force for about 12 years. I have a daughter who's 11 and a husband who's stationed up in DC right now. But here at DLI, I'm the Director of Operations for the student support for the resident mission. So we do all the support for the students when they get here outside of the classroom.
So that would be the International Support Squadron,
Yes,
is that
sir.
correct? So the 637th ISS, you are the DEO,
Yes, sir.
and your commander there is Lieutenant Colonel Cliff Anderson, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, I think we got it all figured out there. So that's great. Wichita Falls, Texas. Interesting, and you're here at Lackland. Not too far down the road.
No,
You ever
sir.
get back there?
Not since high school, but I went to college here at UTSA.
All right, okay. Perfect. Mr. Vega, welcome. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, sir. My name is Daniel Vega. I go by Dan, and I'm retired Air Force, Master Sergeant. Did 25 years of active duty, and I've been in civil service for 12 years. I started at the 37 Training Wing of Protocol. Was there almost 3 years, and then I came over to DLI. I did the RSAF Cadets Field Studies program for about 4 years, 3 to 4 years, and very interesting program. Young cadets coming from Saudi Arabia. I took them on the cultural awareness tours. And then I took over the Amigo sponsorship program in 2017.
Awesome. So I'm trying to count that up. My math's not perfect, but 25 and 12 is 37 years you've been serving?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Wow. How many? 37 more? Still ahead of you?
Well, if I can do it and it's still fun, I'm going to continue to do it. And I am married to a wife of 37 years.
Oh my gosh.
So I've been married to my wife, Melinda, for 37 years, and married to the Air Force for 37 years.
How about that? How about that? So it probably, I just thought about it. We should probably talk a little bit about DLI, ELC, and what your mission is here real quick. So just for those that are out here that aren't familiar, I know basic military training is pretty easy to explain, and technical training is pretty easy to explain, but what you all do is with security cooperation, and your mission's a little bit different. So what I would say is how I characterize it for those that are coming in that don't know is you guys are the executive agents for all English language training across the entire Department of Defense. So what that means is we have students that want to come into this country and get training, whatever kind of training that could be. It could be aviation training, it could be logistics, it could be security forces, civil engineering, it could be anything, intelligence. They come here and they with a certain level of English fluency, and then you guys get them to where they need to be before they go off to their follow-on training, right? And so that's the primary goal, but, and we're going to talk about this too, the offset of that is the cultural understanding of the United States and America, and understanding how to operate in our environment and our culture. That's a big part of the mission as well. So that's all. So hopefully that makes sense. So they go off, they'll come here before they go off to another form of professional military education or technical training, vocational training. Well, it's good to have you both. So Major Bologna, I think we're going to talk a little bit about Joint Task Force COVAX, which coincidentally enough isn't really necessarily tied to the DLI mission, but the foundation for how you guys got involved is associated with our international military students that you guys have here. Do you want to talk a little bit about JTF COVAX, what it is, and who supports that mission, and how others that are out there right now can use it?
Okay, so JTF COVAX is a mission that's done by the National Guard for Texas. They're stationed out of Austin, and they send a team down here every week to do both vaccines and testing, and they'll also do the antibody testing if anybody wants. So you can do the rapid test to find out if you currently have COVID, you can find out if you've had it or if you've been vaccinated with the antibody test, and then you can also get any of the vaccines. So they come with the Johnson & Johnson, the Moderna, and the Pfizer.
So what I think you just said is whether you want to get tested or you get the vaccine itself, you can do all of those things here,
Yes.
and you can actually choose the type of vaccine that you want.
Yes, sir. And they'll give, if you've gotten a shot off base for one of the first of the series for either Moderna or the Pfizer, they can offer the second one as well. So you don't have to come here to get both. If you're just ready for your second one in the series, you can come and show up, and they will give you the shot, and then they'll just annotate it on your card. And then it's just your responsibility to go back and get it put in your records if you're active duty.
Who would they stick?
I'm sorry, what?
Who will they give the vaccine to?
So it's anybody who has base access. So you don't have to be active duty or a civilian if you have access to the base, as long as you can get to the ISS building in the auditorium on Fridays. We're there from 1 to 3. They can come and they just have to provide some form of ID. It doesn't have to be a military ID. And then they'll offer you whichever it is that you'd like to take.
Very cool.
What a deal.
Full service.
Yes,
Full
sir.
service.
Yeah, and free. There's
Yes.
no cost to anyone. It's, yeah, you just do it.
Yes, sir. And then they'll also, the rapid test that they do, it only takes 15 minutes. So if you want to find out if you currently have COVID, they'll have you swab your own nose, and then 15 minutes later they'll give you the results.
So they don't give you the big one where you're trying to get the back
No.
of your head. It's just the small one. Okay.
That's a small one.
Oh, smalls are better.
Yeah, it's much better.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So this, what we're talking about right now, this is a supplement to all the other services that are provided over at Wolford Hall by our 59th Medical Wing. This is above and beyond that. This is offered strictly for convenience. It's been a great partnership because we have international military students, and we have Echo Company soldiers, which is a different topic. But we have them coming in each and every week, and they all need vaccines. I wouldn't say all need vaccines, but a lot of them do need the vaccination. And so it allows us to do it on a weekly basis. We just hit them. And then while they're here, they're like, hey, as long as we're doing the international military students or the Echo Company soldiers, we can do anybody, right? So it can be dependents. It could be, in fact, I would tell you that I brought Nisa and I brought our 2 boys over here at JTF COVAX, gave them their vaccines. So, and went very smoothly. We were in and out in probably about 10 minutes, or 10 or 15 minutes, something like that. So really great, smooth operation.
Yes, sir. And they have never run out of the vaccines. So as long as people show up, they can always get more while they're here during that 2-hour period every week.
How'd you guys get into this?
So Colonel Rodriguez used to work here, and then he went up to Dallas and was part of the larger picture, going across the state of Texas to do the vaccines. And so we reached out to him because of our students showing up and not having the opportunity to get vaccinated before coming here. And so we partnered with them to do it once every couple of weeks. And then we found out that there was a closer option with individuals from Austin coming down. So they come down every week and they can take care of both the testing and the vaccines.
And it works for them because they need to get vaccines, they need to get shots in arms, and we have a continually evolving population here.
Yes, sir.
And so it works good. So thanks to D-Rod, Colonel Rodriguez. That was a great relationship. He was our former deputy commander here, deputy group commander. It worked out really well. So thanks, Major Boulanger. Mr. Vega, over to you. We're going to talk about the Amigo program a little bit. So I mentioned the field studies program. I mentioned the fact that while they're getting English language competency, they got to get the cultural awareness, the cultural immersion. Can you talk about Amigos and the services that they offer and why it's unique to San Antonio?
Well, our Amigo sponsors are total volunteers. What they do for us, to help us, meet our objectives, is totally out of the goodness of their heart. We go and we recruit at prior to the pandemic, we were briefing every 2 weeks at the JBSA newcomers orientation, and we try to get military, because the program is open for military and civilians. And the process starts is all you got to do is send me an email, and we start the process going. If you're a civilian and don't have access to the base, I'll have to go through security forces to get a little background check on them. And then if they're born in a foreign country, and then we'll go to the foreign disclosure office and get that cleared. And then that's how we start the process. And then they come, I give them a little orientation, and we talk about the objectives and the do's and don'ts of being with the students. Because this is strictly exposing them to the culture, making them feel comfortable while they're here. Because sometimes people, in the military, you've traveled to a foreign country, don't know where to eat, don't know the language. A lot of times you don't have means of transportation, and that's what happens to these students when they come here. They're first time away from their country, from their loved ones. So that's where our Amigo sponsors come in. They donate their time, whatever it might be, 1 hour, a weekend. The program does not, it's not like the Rotary with the high school students where, with the exchange students, where you have to provide room and board.
Mhm.
Ours, DLI here at DLI, we provide all that for them, the room and board. And now, where the Amigos come in is if they want to host them to show them how we live here in the United States. Because, you talk to some of the students and, coming to Texas, a lot of them, from what they see in Hollywood movies and stuff, thinking they come into Texas that everyone owns a horse. Everyone has a ranch and stuff. So that's where the Amigos come in. They bring them, to their homes if they want, and show them, that no, it's a regular, house.
Some ride their horse.
Yeah, and if they do have a horse, then, if they can do that, and but we go from it's just volunteerism. If you want to take them, say the Amigo sponsors want to take them to a movie, shopping at the mall, Starbucks, and it's also given the not only the big picture for the students learning about our culture, we're also learning about their culture as well, and. So it's a win-win situation when the role gets reversed. I've had Amigo sponsors that have traveled to some of the countries of the students that they sponsored while they were here, and now they go back to their country. Now they have a sponsor telling them where they can go. Some of them even stayed with them. They've hosted them at their house. So it's a great opportunity, and if you're willing to volunteer, please sign up.
How do they get a hold of us? I gotta tell you what we'll do is I think we'll have Brittany. Are you okay if we put some contact information?
Yes,
for you?
definitely.
Yeah, we'll put your email in there.
Okay.
If that's okay, in the comments, and then they can shoot you an email if they're interested.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's great. So that's one of the unique things about the Amigo program and how it's tied specifically to San Antonio. It's our Amigo families. It's a cultural awareness, and it's having those volunteers because you could probably do this mission some other place. But the thing that makes it unique and specific to San Antonio is the Amigo families, and so we have some great Amigo families. We could always use more of them.
Yes.
Well, thanks for being here. Thanks for advocating for our students. It's a great program. So hey, Chief, I was thinking we talked to Major Boulanger a little bit about COVID and the Joint Task Force there. Things have kind of changed a little bit in terms of some of the information that we've got, some of the guidance we've got from the Department of Defense to the Air Force. We were talking about that a little bit earlier. Would you mind sharing what's going on with the rest of the crowd here so they can understand how relevant this actual conversation on the vaccines is right now?
Yeah, love to, boss. So as we all are probably tracking, I know the boss and I are tracking this pretty closely, is that the department is considering mandating vaccines by the middle of next month for all personnel. And the bottom line of it is that we don't know what we don't know at this point, and some of the information out there is it still needs to be kind of planned out, and we still need to kind of figure out how we're going to do it if we're going to do this. So I think it's really worth taking a little time to understand how these new vaccines make educated decisions. I personally think that the department is going to lean more towards the mandated vaccines. I don't see us getting away from it, just like annual flu vaccines or those kind of the shots that we get. So, I mean, me personally, I took the vaccine. I took the vaccine after getting COVID. My whole family got COVID. And some of us fared a little bit better than others as we went through it. Some of us a little bit worse. So the vaccine to me was an important decision. I did a lot of research. I talked with my public health officer. And I personally encourage people to get the vaccine. I think it's definitely worth it after seeing what my family went through. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of discussion on this out in society right now, and a lot of people with strong feelings one way or another about it. and when it comes right down to it, I think that our mission here is pretty straightforward, and that's to protect the training pipeline, it's to protect our international military students, it's to protect our permanent party personnel. And when it comes right down to it, it's hard to argue that the vaccine allows us to do that better and be safer with our folks and to continue our mission more effectively. And so to that end, we're encouraging our folks to go and get the vaccine. The potential for a mandate is out there. I would say it's more than potential at this point. And our leadership's all having conversations with our folks at this point in time. But again, very controversial. We understand every aspect of it, but at this point, my loyalty is to the training pipeline and to our mission. And so here we are. So anyway, we had a busy week last week, Chief.
It was pretty good. The whole team had a busy week.
We did.
Yeah, it was a big lift. Yeah. So we had our new boss, Major General Edmondson and Chief Veazey. We did an immersion with them.
Matter of fact, just a week ago to the day,
Yeah.
we were sitting in this very classroom talking about this very mission.
Yes. And but we also had some other visitors coming in throughout the week. We had Chief Master of the Air Force, Joanne Bass, co-hosting the Senior Enlisted Leader International Summit with our folks over at IAFA, the Inter-American Air Forces Academy, which we had enlisted leaders from 140 plus countries all descend upon the downtown area, and we brought them on base for a little bit, and I got to see some of the operations we do in turning civilians into airmen and guardians. So it was pretty cool. And we had a few night events here and there. Yeah. What were all the night events we did, boss?
Well, we ended up on Wednesday night. We had a celebration for our IAFA graduates.
Oh,
We
yes.
had, I want to say close to 200 graduates, a little under, from 20-some countries out in Latin America that graduated on Wednesday night. And we had, like you said, Chief Bass, Chief Master of the Air Force, was our guest speaker. Check out the Air Force webpage if you don't believe me. The story is out there. So that was a great honor, obviously, and just talks to, again, the uniqueness and the importance of the missions that we do here at the 37th Training Wing. And then we had on Friday night, we had a senior NCO induction. How about that? And I want to say we celebrated the induction of 99 new personnel into the ranks of Master Sergeant, to the rank of Master Sergeant. We did it in a really extraordinary, safe way where we could still recognize everybody and still move forward with our mission of Back to Better. And it was Back to Better, 100%. So busy week. Still actually trying to catch my breath from it. I don't know about you. But anyway, boss, General Edmondson, it was great having you. I know your travels. She's still got a number of wings to get out to and visit with. She was here. When she was here, she spent time with the Special Warfare Training Wing, our partner wing over at Chapman. It was just great to have her and Chief Easy. And so look forward to her leadership over the next couple of years. It'll be great. So there's a lot of other things going on. We had honorary commanders quarterly update yesterday. We were blessed to have civic leaders and honorary commanders from all over the San Antonio area come out to the BMT graduation yesterday and participate and witness that. That was great. And then afterwards we had what we were calling our board of directors meeting, and we solidified a charter. And so unlike a lot of locations, we're doing something kind of unique with our honorary commanders where the honorary commander relationship with the commander is still unique and special and still being worked, but we're actually bringing our honorary commanders together as a conglomerate organization where they come together and they tackle our wing's biggest problems, and they do it as a group rather than looking at the honorary commanders each as its own individual, and that's pretty special. And so at their own doing, at their own request, at their own volition, they built this charter that we formalized yesterday. We're really excited about it. We think it's pretty unique and pretty special. So that was pretty awesome too.
Yeah, one of the things I really liked about that board of directors meeting is you could really sense, you could feel that they want to help the permanent party and the staff of Blackwood. I mean, they really just want to be a part of the wing, and they want to help the capital A Airmen and Guardians out. Right?
Absolutely. And speaking of airmen, one of the big things that we do and focus on here is force development, professional development. Warhawk University, we've talked a lot about Warhawk University in the past. I encourage everybody to hit that QR code that we send out once a week in the Hawk Talk to see what opportunities are out there. But right now we're still kind of, we're continually assessing. So we're in this kind of construct where we put information and content out there and then we assess the value of it. Right now we're in that assessment. This week I sent out a survey in the Hawk Talk to see what force development and professional development needs are out there, and we just ask for everybody's participation in providing a response. It shouldn't take more than a couple minutes to fill out that survey or complete that survey to let us know what kind of things they need.
And that's really what this is meant to do, right? Is take the requirements that are being generated by our team, by our formation, and then figure out ways to help develop to those requirements. Because we can put out 100 different things, but if nobody wants to use it, I mean, then we're kind of just wasting everyone's time with it. So I really want to hear from you on that survey.
That's right, and I think the timing's good. You know, we're working towards, and they'll see it here. I think around the 1st of September we'll push this out. But we're getting our stuff all together here in our AFSC Leads program for the officers and the enlisted. So the enlisted had been published previously, but we've had a massive turnover this summer, and we're trying to realign that. And our officers trying to get those after the big turnover that we had. And we're going to be pushing out all the guidance on our AFSC Leads, and we're going to take each AFSC on a functional basis and assign senior mentors to both our enlisted and our officer corps. And I think to help them walk through the continual professional development that they need before they get ready to transition out of the training environment and back into more of their operational environment that their AFSC traditionally was. So we'll be pushing that out pretty soon, and Warhawk University is going to be a big part of that.
That's right.
That's great. Well, sir, Chief, finally, there's been some updates to the HPCon posture here in the San Antonio area. I think Colonel Irick and Mr. Street talked a little bit about it last week. It was still kind of hot off the press at that point in time, but we are still officially at HPCon Bravo Plus. But some enhanced measures that are out there that we can probably talk about. We know that we have requirements for our mask wear indoors, outdoors, a different story. But we also were capped at the 40% occupancy. There are exceptions when you're indoors to being able to wear your mask if you have a private office or you're eating or drinking, something along those lines. If you have a mission-specific requirement that mandates that you take the mask off for safety reasons, for precautionary reasons, for training reasons, there's some leeway there. I've noticed some changes in our fitness centers. I don't know if you've heard a little bit about that, but the fitness center hours and availability have gone down just a little bit to try and protect our personnel. So there's been some changes there, but I would just say, generally speaking, we're at a heightened state because of some of the off-base concerns in terms of the heightened elevation levels for COVID positives, hospitalization, and some of the negative indicators that go along with the pandemic.
And the availability within our medical providers off-base too, that's a big part of that decision as well. And we're seeing an increase in the usage, which means a decrease in availability, which is, in my mind, one of the biggest driving factors, because, I mean, people get sick all the time, people get sick. But when it comes to this pandemic, and we don't understand how, having that availability in the hospital to care for those who are sick, is kind of a critical indicator.
Of course, absolutely. And that capacity has gone down because the utility has gone up.
Right.
Well, and so that's just always a reminder to our personnel that the training pipeline is what we're focused on our permit party. But we've been after this for 17 months now. This is nothing new. The procedures haven't really changed. Mask use policy is kind of ebbed and flowed, and here we are. We know how to do this, and it's just continual reminders on safety precautions, making sure we're compliant with the CDC measures that are in place. The guidance memorandum number 59 that was sent out by General Miller and her team, just make sure we're adhering to that, and just get back to the fundamentals. We know how to do this. Just remain vigilant, and let's get through this and move on towards back to better. Anyway, Chief, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
I think that's another Freeform Friday in the books. Brittany, back there, anything that came in while we've been on?
No, sir, we're good.
All right, we're good. Well, anyway, Dan, Rebecca, thank you so much for participating. It's great to be here at DLI ELC. To all of our DLI ELC cadre that's out there and members of that group, we love being over here. We love you all. We hear from y'all constantly, and it's great because you're always letting us know kind of how things are going, and we appreciate that greatly. We really, really value and love this mission. So, happy Friday, all, and with that, Warhawks train to win, and we are out.